Grace and peace, friends and family. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend with me. I truly appreciate the time that we get to spend together. It's my sincere hope that you are having a fearless Friday and that you continue to come from behind, that you continue to come forth. You know, many of us come on YouTube or came on YouTube looking for answers. We wanted to know what happened to me. We were just trying to make it make sense because the experience that we had with an individual, and for some people, it was a group of people that you had this experience with, that just felt like you were walking in the wilderness. It did not feel normal. You run to the left and you try to tell the people on that side, like, yo, this is what I just encountered and it doesn't make sense. And they're like, well, just deal with it. You know, life happens to all of us, but it still doesn't register with you that this is just an experience that you got to just deal with and cope with. So you run to the people on the right, hoping that maybe somebody would understand your experience. And then what do they say? Exactly what the people on the right said. They said, listen, that happens to everybody. Get over it. But it's not enough to satisfy the questions that you have. You need it to make sense. Narcissistic abuse is insidious. It is wicked. It is evil. And it is, in many ways, a wilderness experience. And I want to call it a wilderness experience because it's not a one-time event. This is not something that just occurred one day, but it happened over a period of time. And the impact of it is significant, that if you do not actively engage in the process of healing and recovery, it changes the trajectory of your life in a negative way. Again, it doesn't happen over one, it's not a single event. It happens over a period of time, and it's strategic. Let's not play any, let's not diminish it. It is strategic. Fear is created throughout this wilderness experience, and it's used to control you. Fear is used to dominate you. And you've got to, and I know many of us within this community, and if it's your first time listening to one of my videos, go back and listen to more. I encourage you. If it's your, fear is used to control and dominate you, and you've got to wonder why, because anytime somebody wants control over you, what are they trying to control? Your mind. Your mind, and I'm going to say this over and over again, is your most important. It is your most essential faculty. No one but you should have control of your mind. Be careful who you give power to make decisions on your behalf. Spouses, intimate partners, friendships, spiritual relationships, professional. No relationship type or structure is off limit from narcissistic abuse. Fear is also one of the most effective strategies of the enemy. What enemy, Joy? The devil? That enemy? That's who I'm talking about. And this is why narcissists, in my opinion, because they're using one of the devil's most effective strategies, appear to be bigger, badder, and more dangerous than they actually can sometimes be. Now, I don't want to diminish that the fact that yes, they actually are bigger. Some of them are actually big, bad, and dangerous, because we know all too well that some of their victims end up with broken bones. Some end up with more than bruises, more than broken bones. Some end up in morgues. And so this is why so many of us, countless of us, come on here and we use our voices in public so that those who don't have the courage and are in private can heal. They can get the message and get out. There is never, ever a situation where you should be rationalizing, do I stay with the narcissist or do I leave? The answer is always unequivocally going to be get out. Narcissists don't change. That situation is not going to get better. Sure, it may improve for like 2 days, 2 weeks. It's not going to change. Victims of narcissistic abuse experience symptoms such as, of course, fear, difficulty concentrating, low confidence, your self-esteem is altered, you experience nightmares, aches in your body. Listen, another person can induce actual physical pain in your body. Yes. Anxiety, social withdrawal, insomnia, confusion. And that's just the beginning of it. There are so many other symptoms that victims experience. Listen, this thing is real and it's nothing that you should be playing with. It's nothing that you should be entertaining. It's nothing that you should be telling yourself that my love is strong enough to fix this. I'm raising my hand right now. I know you can't see it, but trust me, I'm raising my hand to let you know I tried that, but it does not work. Your love can't fix that. I tried it over and over again. It will not change that situation. It will not change that person. Change is something that an individual themselves decide that this is what I want to do. And they must have a list of reasons for themselves why they want to change. If ever we put our own desires upon somebody else, we're manipulating them. And so in that instance, we got to check our own motives. Why do we want them to change? So that they can love us better? No. Come out of that. Love yourself enough to say, I deserve something better than this. And you know, part of the fear that they instill in you is so that you don't have a moment like that. Don't get stuck like that. This is real. And there's a reason why it's real. They mean you no well whatsoever. And I want to be brutally honest with you because it's just that serious. Like, first of all, listen and hear me clearly. Your birth signaled your arrival. Hear what I'm saying. Your birth signaled your arrival into the spiritual world. It announced to the forces of darkness that God's expressed image, yes, you are God's expressed image in the earth realm. It signaled to the spiritual world that God's express image is here. That gift, that person, that one is here. And that infuriates the enemy. That is why your greatness is under attack. The enemy, the agenda has always been the same, and that is to strike you down. Did you not hear me when I said that you are God's expressed image on earth? I don't care what they told you. I don't care what they did to you. I don't care how it made you feel. And that's not to diminish how you feel, but I need you to understand that you are God's expressed image on earth. Genesis 1:26 said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness. You are God's expressed image. There is something inside of you that God needed to deposit in the earth, and that is why you exist. And that is why the enemy has a mark on your back. He will use it. He will use fear, should I say, to arrest you. Your fight, while you are in this war, what you are fighting for, you're not just fighting so that you can get out of this and just live your life anyhow. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than that. Your fight is to express that inner greatness that is on the inside of you. The reason for your being. Remember, you are God's express image on earth. The enemy will use every plot, plan, and tactic in his book, at his disposal to take you out. He will use fear to quench your fire. He will use fear to quench your passion. He will use fear to quench your very life. Look back on your life for yourself. He's been trying to obliterate and annihilate you for as long as you can remember. Look back on it and be honest. Take an honest assessment. Take an honest stock of your own life. But I want to remind you, in case you are battle tired, and I know many are battle tired, but this is not the time to get tired. I want to encourage you so that you can continue to go forward. As you look back and you see how the enemy has come after you over and over again, God's hand has been upon your life. And it will continue to be upon your life. The enemy's strategy is simply this: to steal, kill, and destroy. But God will protect you. It doesn't matter. God will protect you. The narcissist comes into your life to distort your reality by making you internalize the abuse and make you believe that you actually deserve this. And this is where that self-gaslighting comes in. If you go back to my very last video, the one Stop Self-Gaslighting Yourself After Narcissistic Abuse is the title, and I'm going to attach it to this video. And this is why they use that fear to get you to minimize yourself, to get you to become invisible to yourself. If you don't see yourself, who's going to see you? If you don't see the greatness in you, how would you be effective and do the work that God has upon your life? Listen, God wants you to do what he has deposited in you. That's what you were born to do. That's that thing that you go to bed thinking about and you wake up thinking about, that you sometimes do effortlessly. Or for some people, you need to rely on God because he wants to just cultivate something awesome that the earth has not seen yet. And so we lean not on our own understanding, but on his. And this is why sometimes you find that narcissists monitor your behavior. They want to know, who are you spending your time with? What are you doing? What do you spend your money on? Monitoring you, adding that fear into your life. Because if you fear that monitoring or them monitoring you, you can't associate with those who see your potential. You can't associate with those who will pull out the greatness in you. And so you diminish yourself and you don't even go out anymore. You begin to withdraw and isolate because you don't want to step on the narc's toes. You now end up diminishing yourself and your confidence is lowered and your self-esteem. What's that? You don't even have a voice anymore. I said to you earlier that your greatness is under attack. That's your purpose, the reason for your birth. And I want you to know, sometimes, we feel that we got to change our personalities to go to God or to be used by God. But I just want you to consider this for a moment, that your personality is part of God's express image, because he doesn't want a cookie cutter image of himself. He doesn't want us all to be the same. All of our flavors and the way that we do things are all going to be used for his glory, as long as we're not being, busted, dusty, raggedy, but just being our unique and authentic selves, remembering who we are in him. And this is where now, again, if we go back to how the narcissist uses that fear, that's when, again, we start to isolate, or victims begin to isolate themselves from friends, family, acquaintances, those that help them level up. And you start just becoming a shadow of yourself. They demean you, they shame you, they humiliate you. And now you're no longer around people that will uplift you. And so this is the soundtrack of your life. And it begins to repeat over and over again in your subconscious, and nothing to build you up. And you fear even having a dream. You fear believing the truth. You fear that you're just not good enough. And they begin, or you may see how their fear can produce extreme jealousy, accusations, constant criticism. Have you experienced any of this? They ridicule you, they tease you, they mock you, causing you to just become fearful. This is all emotional abuse. It's even spiritual abuse, because they're attacking your highest faculty, your mind, that seeps into your emotions, that takes over your will, which is your soul. That is a sacred thing. Your greatness is under attack. They don't want you to even, sometimes you find they don't even want you to spend time alone, because they worry that if you spend time alone and outside of their presence, you just might have a moment where you come to your senses and be like, I'm out. So they continue to dominate every single moment of your time, wearing you out. I could go on, but I think many of us have our own experiences, and we've done it enough to know that, hey, this emotional abuse, this spiritual abuse is more than enough. But they instill self-doubt, feelings of worthlessness, and they make you doubt every single thing, including God. And I just told you that you are God's express image in earth, yet they want you to doubt him and what he says about you. And I want to bring this, I want to kind of tie this in with the initial sin, the very first, not sin, but the very first temptation. It is, I guess, the initial sin in itself. If we go back to the garden, right? And we find where the serpent deceives Eve, and he made her believe that God was withholding from her. But we know he loves us all and gives us his very best, because John 3:16 says he gave his only begotten son so that we would benefit. But here he is telling Eve that, God, you trust him? Like, sis, really? He's lying to Eve. He tells her that if she ate from the fruit of the tree, she wouldn't die. But family, if you consider this, that in itself was a lie, because this was the tree of knowledge, right? And he told Eve that she wouldn't die. But once she ate from that fruit, and so did Adam, they recognized that they were naked. So yeah, they had knowledge, and they had all the knowledge now. But there was a severing of the relationship with God. That in itself is death. God didn't lie. You see how that narc brought in deception? He used fear that, hold up, God, he lied to me? What? Fear of missing out. They use any and every type of fear. You've got to know that what you know is the truth. And sometimes that means getting to know who you are. Who are you? So even as you journey on your recovery, get to know you. Know the very things that you like. Know the very things that you believe in. Know those who are for you. Know those who love you. Know the positive things about you. You don't need to spend time in the things you don't spend, I want you to build yourself up on what is good about you. It's so easy for us to fall back in our weaknesses, but also don't forget to be so well versed with your positive qualities, because when those fears and when your insecurities rise up, you can counter them with your strengths, with your finer qualities. Overcoming fear is something that we all have to do. Sometimes when something comes up, you may, let's just say, you may have like anxiety, and you say, oh, my anxiety. Don't claim that thing. You can just say anxiety is raising its ugly head, but you don't have to claim that thing. It's not yours. But allow yourself sometimes to sit with that thing that you're fearful of for 2 to 3 minutes and just think for a moment to rationalize that thought. Is this fear legitimate? Is what I'm feeling real? Can it do something to me? Just give yourself a moment. And even in that moment, extend some grace to yourself and be compassionate and kind to yourself like you would to somebody else. Sometimes it means holding your own hand, rubbing it to let you know that I'm here with you, making yourself human to yourself. Consider what you are grateful for. Take a moment to think about those things and then write them out and just be grateful for them. If you can even pray and thank God for those things in that moment. We're changing how we think when fear shows up in our lives. Another thing is that you can make that a thing that you are fearing at that moment. So let's just say you become anxious about something and it's causing fear to grow up inside of you. Visualize it as a person. Put it in the corner and speak to it. You tell it that you are not intimidated by it. Now ask it, what are you trying to teach me? Because all life is an education. All life is an education. One thing that I tell my children, right, about hate, because they like coming saying, oh, these haters, this and haters that. I'm like, listen, hate is educational. When you find out what they hate about you, you find out what you're valuable at. You find out what you're good at. So don't ever dismiss your haters. And in this instance, don't ever dismiss that anxiety. Listen and ask, what are you teaching me in this moment? Change your focus. Do something that makes you move physically. Whether it's, okay, I'm going to put on some music and clean the house. Maybe I'm going to go into praise and worship. Maybe I'm going to go for a run. Maybe I'm going to cook. Maybe I'm going to bake. But do something physically that's going to cause you to actually step out of that moment and, focus on something else. We have to break out of that. And while you do that, engage in humor, laugh to break up that atmosphere, change it, and just appreciate the fact that you have courage to take that step. Because it takes courage to change your mind. It takes courage to do something different when you're faced with something that causes fear to rise up in you. So family, I want to thank you so much for your time. I thank you for your just your support of this channel. I thank you so much. Again, I don't take your time for granted. I appreciate you being here and how you support one another in these comments. Listen, if this is your first time here, I encourage you, if you like the content, to hit subscribe and turn on the notifications bell. Also, join us in the comments. I look forward to chatting with you again live this coming Sunday. My discussion on Sunday is Get Your Power Back. Listen, I can't wait for that conversation. I'm ready. I'm ready to break up some things with you in the spiritual realm and you get your power back. So until Sunday, fearless one, come from behind. Come forth. God bless you.